Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
And there's been rumours in the media, actually there was an article in the media about Hong Kong coming to Ireland. So what they're talking about basically is creating a new little city in Ireland with people from Hong Kong. There's going to be 100,000 people in it. And you think that, I think he said Portlaoise should be a good place to put it.
Well, I was thinking of a place where could be developed more. Towns that could need development, and I mentioned Portlaoise because it's near the motorways and that. But really, the town, funny enough, when I thought subsequently about it, the part that's really very suitable for such a place is actually County Meath, Navan, and places like that, because you're near a motorway and you're near the airport. Because the airport would be very important for coming and going, and as anybody in business and the people in Hong Kong, because about the way they're going to use, they're losing their special treatment from the US administration. President Trump has just recently now closed it off because of the interference of the Chinese government. It's not as independent as it was supposed to be. It's now nearly under the control of the Chinese, and they're limiting only 4 people to be in a group. So this will be a factor in people in Hong Kong that have all this business experience to try and leave and to be an asset to wherever country to go to. And funny enough, Britain is wooing them as well. And there's been headlines in their financial papers about the desirability of them coming there. But I think some of them have a preference because there's quite a few Chinese here in Ireland, and I think they're quite happy, and they're very well. They're good citizens as far as they can see. They obey the rules and they contribute to the economy. So the war has probably percolated back to like a Hong Kong, and they know, for example, they're probably very well aware of this recent decision by the court, the second highest court in the EU, to support the Irish and Apple in this 13.5 billion case that the EU investigator had the cheek to bring, and they tried to destroy this country's employment potential. Having already destroyed it when we joined it, but that'd be no concern of hers, is what you'd say. Do you know what I'm saying? In other words, so that would be a great factor in this country, and the fact that we're still in the EU would be an attractive thing for the Chinese, these ones in Hong Kong. And I invite you to say that they will choose this country over Britain, believe it or not. They will choose this country. Because funny enough, the famous patriot Michael Collins, when he was dealing with the freedom of this country, which he got, he couldn't understand how stupid they were, how they ever conquered anybody. That's just an aside, but I'm not taken from them. But I think this is a more attractive country from the point of view of investment, that the Chinese, the expertise that they have. And don't forget, we have the financial centre that Charlie Haughey, in his premiership, built that place that was derelict, the Financial Services Centre. That's given tremendous employment, but we don't hear much from this media about it. Oh no, they won't give Mr. Charlie any credit for anything.
So overall, you would give a thumbs up to Hong Kong coming to Ireland?
Well, I certainly would, and the idea that expressing a view for a kind of a town with all Chinese, that wouldn't be prudent to do. Nobody wants that. They need to sort of examine the business of mixing, but the sort of county that would suit their purposes, I would think, would be parts of County Meath and County Cavan, and perhaps Louth, because but then Louth is a bit developed, isn't it, rather than Dock. And it's then but in Meath and Cavan, you've got the wider country as well, and the facilities. You've got the best of both worlds, funny enough. I mentioned Portlaoise from the point of view of it needing development, but then from the point of view of the airport, it's Meath and Cavan would be the prayer, and perhaps next door to it would be Longford. I think, and maybe Westmeath. They would be, because it's the airport would be the important thing for them, isn't that right?
Mm.
But then a quality of life.
But of course, John, you got to remember, if you're going to have 100,000 people, there's no reason, I mean, not to build an airport. You could build an airport.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's grand to have the like of the international hub of Dublin, which they can go anywhere in the world for business.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a very good country from that point of view, irrespective of the sort of political leaders now we're saddled with. I don't throw them much hope, because there's too many different agendas in that government, and none of them are, to my way of thinking, right. Fianna Fáil was always good, in my view, down the years, aside from what they did with the Civil War. That's another day's work, we won't go into that. But the fact of the matter is that they were good, and their policies were always successful and attractive. The danger is this coalition with a Labour, which caused problems, believe it or not. And when you were talking there about the tax on the pubs, 1991, I'd say they were in coalition with Fianna Fáil, and that'd be their doing, or insisting on doing it, otherwise they'd leave the government. Because I think Dick Spring was the leader of the party, and had a good few members, and so they would be socialist. They're not actually for the sort of business that we're talking about, to like people from Hong Kong. As a matter of fact, Labour wanted to do away with any tax breaks for the horse industry. If it wasn't for the tax breaks that I think Fianna Fáil introduced, and Charlie maybe as well, which we have a very successful horse industry, believe it or not. But if Labour was left, we wouldn't have that. And now with the Green Party, we won't have a proper agricultural. If Barry Cowan was still Minister for Agriculture, we would have a great situation. So these are the sort of things I'm just talking about, digress there, but from the point of view of Hong Kong, this would be an ideal country for them. We speak English, I think they speak English, because it was a British colony, I think, up on the Chinese insisted on having it, and I'd hate to give that to the communist China, because it's a totalitarian situation, and it's not democratic, so they don't respect the democratic will. You're a Catholic there, you can't march and go to mass and confession within freedom. You don't know who's the hell's spying on you, and you could be locked up.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's Chinese, he's half Chinese anyway, and he said that there's 20 people who run China, the Communist Party. There's just 20 at the top, that's it.
Well, that's the yard. They make out for the common good, but they're not, because they kill more of their own people than anybody.
He said that the economy is capitalist, the ideology is communism. So there we go.
Well, I hope now that the people from Hong Kong, if they want to travel here, and don't be worried too much about this COVID business. It's overdone, and I don't expect that people from Hong Kong suddenly going to land a whole heap of COVID stuff here, and they might have to wait for a bit now, because if they come here now, apparently they insisted to be quarantined for 14 days. Did you ever hear the like of it? So where are they going to stay for?
So thumbs up to Hong Kong, yes?
Thumbs up, and welcome Mr. Hong Kong Chinese and the various other nationalities that's living there that want to come here and have something to contribute.
That's great. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Oliver.